Hello and back to another Fabian Show. I'm Jacob from Books Corner, and today we're doing my favorite wrap-up. I read 28 books this month, and we're going to go through them. We are still using small books. It is in a bag, so it's pretty annoying, probably pretty loud. I might choose something else to put it in next month, but I do like the idea of doing like a random draw, because all my books, it doesn't matter if I own them or I don't own them, they turn the small book of the month as I review them. And so I figured it'd be kind of fun just to come in here and just talk randomly about the novels. It's the plan. We also are doing, I should mention, the two of the books I read this month were of my own, so I don't have covers for them, and if I did, I would not be able to share them, but I can tell you what I worked on. That would be GSR. I read GSR Book 1 and Book 2 to gather notes for when I started writing GSR Book 3, which I technically started, I think, on the 26th of February. So that's full in production now, which is very exciting. We get started with the wrap-up. I'm going to try to do this kind of rapid fire, so if I don't have like exact synopses for you and things, I'm also going to try to guess my ratings because I don't have my notebook with me. Alright, these are all the books that I read. Let's go ahead. Like I said, it's just going to be a random draw. Yeah. Place my hand in here. We're just going to pick one out. Red Queen. The Red Queen is the next series I'm going to be reviewing for you guys. The next Technic one is actually Skyward, but that video will come out in March. This is for April, so you're a little bit away from it. And I read both Red Queen and Glass Sword. Red Queen was towards the beginning of the month, and Glass Sword was the final book I read in February. It was book number 28. Red Queen, I gave a 4.25, and I gave this a 3.75. This follows Mare as she lives in a world where there are silver and red bloods, and she realizes that she is a mixture of both. Silver bloods have magical powers, think X-Men. Red bloods are just average humans, and silver bloods obviously rule this world. We are dealing with a character who has magical powers, but also has red blood, and we're kind of going through all the consequences and stuff. That's the first two. And we'll talk about back into the drawing board. There are some like really good books in here, and there's some like really bad books. There's several I didn't DNF. I think I DNF'd like 2 or 3 this month as well, so maybe we'll pull all those. I don't know. Oh, Nickel Boys. All right, so the Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead was a 5-star read. I fucking adore this novel in the best way that you possibly can, because a very insightful, the whole point a novel is to bring knowledge to a time that isn't really talked about, and I think is really, in a way, purposely not talked about. So when they ever start to do it again, because in the society that we live in, especially in America right now, we won't know that it already happened. This is about reform school, so we follow our main character. Oh gosh, his name is escaping me. Such a good character, though. We follow him. He's a little black boy, and when he's 17 years old, he ends up hopping in the car with the wrong person and ends up getting arrested and sent to a reform school. The reform school is called the Nickel Boys, and then we jump forward in time when this dude is older and they're finding bodies at the school, and we're getting to hear the hauntings and the horribleness that did very much directly attack the black boys at the school, because it segregates. There's one half is black boys, one half is white boys. They have different cabins, they have different everything, and the white boys are living like fucking luxury, and the black boys are being tortured, is the best way I know how to put it. Sorry for joking, I joke in weird places. I also saw the movie, and it is probably my favorite movie of the year so far. Is it my favorite movie? I want to say it's probably my favorite movie of the year. It took my breath away, so I'd highly recommend both the novel and the adaptation. I think the person who adapted it did such an amazing job, and I'm so mad that it's not nominated for so many more awards, as it deserves to be nominated almost in every category in the Oscars, in my opinion. It's just so good. Ooh, another great read. This is another 5-star. And that's I Think They Love You by Julian Winters. This came out at the beginning of February. I read it before it came out, I think the week before, but I think it came out for Valentine's Day, if I'm not mistaken. This follows 2 boys. We have one boy, which I think is this one right here, who is like a part of like a really famous family that throws events and things, and very well known. And then we also have a second chance romance with a boy that he knew when he was in college. He comes back, he has to have a certain dates for certain events. You know how fake dating goes, and here we are. I fucking adored this novel. If you like Red, White, and Royal Blue, I have a feeling you're going to love this. If you love gay male adult romance with great spice, you're going to love this. The banter is adorable. The relationships are great. And also, I really enjoyed what the third act had to bring. And if you understand that in romance terms, I think you're also going to like it. Continuing onwards. Fight Girls. So Fight Girls is a graphic novel. It does look weird on the whiteboard, but it's just because of the fact. It's a little weird. I think I gave it a 3.5. I know it's definitely a 3, so it's in the 3 range, but I want to say it's like a 3.5. This follows a group of girls who are fighting for their lives to become queen of this world. There's 10 of them. They drop down into these very life or death situations, and they have to survive. The last one surviving will become queen of this world and ruled next to the king and things. I enjoyed it, did exactly what it's supposed to do, and would recommend it for people who enjoy games and things. It is very graphic in a lot of different ways, and I do feel like it kind of went over the line and towards the end, but I still enjoyed myself. Next one. I don't want to look at it because I don't want to know what I'm grabbing. Chinging All-Stars is the first book on this list I cannot tell you the rating of. This is for that 5-star prediction video. Or not 5. I keep saying 5-star prediction. That's not what it is. That is for that trying to find a 5-star video. This is about a group that's set in a near future where they turn the prison systems into a gladiator system, and there's rankings. There's 5 rankings. You build your way up to the very top. You can become free. You have to murder a bunch of people to get there, or you have to fight to the death a bunch of people and things. I think it came out in 2023. It was all, of course, the award ceremonies, and I've been interested in it since I think I heard Kayla talk about it when it came out. And that's all I can really say about it. All right, moving on. Kayla being books and law, by the way. Ooh, Orbital. I don't remember what this book is about, I'm going to be honest with you. It's also for that trying to find a 5-star video. It's by Samantha Harvey. And that's all I can tell you, because I really don't remember, like, at all what it's about. I wish I did. You know, just sometimes you just don't. I just knocked out so many other books. These will be the next 2 we talk about. The first one I grabbed was Cursebound, which is the sequel to Feybound, and the first book that I read for my 25 and 25 TBR. I'm so looking forward to this TBR. There's a video out for it in case you want to check it out. But Cursebound is the sequel to Feybound. Feybound follows 2 sisters. One is a general and also like dating the commander. The other one is someone who can see the future, and the general is casted out for something that they do, and they are sent to exile, and the sister and the person beneath the general both go to rescue her and make sure she is safe. They realize that they live in the world of Fae. They are elves, and they're taken into a world of Fae where they're trapped behind a barrier, and it's about their life there and things. It is a romantasy, because I'm declaring it a romantasy. Yes, the magical elements, the fantasy elements are very prominent. It is still extremely graphic. Smut. Oh my gosh. I hate saying smut. Smut seems like such a negatory word. It's just really graphic spice. You know, it's very spicy. Very, very spicy. And I do feel like because the first 2 books are out in that series, I gave this a 4, by the way. I felt like it was a very secondary novel. Good though. But because the first 2 books are out, I do think that the author is covering every type of relationship you can think of, which is really nice. Well, I guess most relationships. Next one we're going to talk about is Stephen King's Skeleton Crew. I did not rate this because I didn't technically finish it. I read 2 short stories out of it, the first one being The Monkey, because I saw the movie this past month, and I thought the movie was okay. I gave it like a 3.5, so I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like my favorite thing in the world, and so I wanted to read the source material, see if I'd grab more information. I do think it's helpful in certain areas, but I just think Stephen King, especially in the 80s, which is like a bad writer. I hate to say it, the story was written in the 80s, and it's very of its time, and slightly racist, in my opinion. And I know that's a very commonly thing that a lot of people talk about Stephen King. He's a very prolific writer, but I don't think a lot of his earlier work aged very well. I think Stephen King is such a mixed bag for me. I also read The Mist. I gave that a 3.5, 3.75. I did think both adaptations were better in both counts of this. The Monkey, I gave it like a 1.25. I don't put short stories on my worst books of the year, but it could be a contender. Like, that's where I'm at. We're 2 months in, and I think I found my favorite worst book. But it's not a book. It was like 10 pages long. I don't know how to, you know what I mean? I don't know. The next one that we pulled out of that beautiful bag is 2345, which is a BL manga. This, I think, gets released in April, if I'm not mistaken. I do think it's a re-release. A lot of ones I get through Night Galley that are BL mangas, they all end up being like a 3.5, which is what this is. And so if you have any good recs, please let me know. I much prefer adult BL mangas than teen BL mangas, if that makes any sense. I just think that it's just, I enjoy it better. But if you have any recs, let me know in the comments down below. This one follows a boy who ends up seeing a ghost, and he's going to go try to solve how this person died as they're falling in love. I enjoy a lot of BL mangas though, because a lot of them do not, like, they're not very homophobic, which is, I think, very refreshing, especially in the graphic novel space. I feel like in the graphic novel space, there's a lot of homophobia surrounded around the, like, main relationship. But I don't find that a lot with BL mangas. Okay, continue on this. I'll grab this one. Oh, okay, another book, I DNF. The Last Wish follows several different stories in Geralt's life. This is what you're supposed to read first before you read the rest of the Witcher series. I will not be continuing onward. I did not like Andrzej Sapkowski's writing. I know that it's translated, is what it is, but I didn't like whatever it might be. I didn't like the sexualization of children throughout the pages. For obvious, that one's pretty self-explanatory in my opinion. And then also, I didn't like the representation overall. And I also found Geralt to be quite annoying and not very likable, which I think is a very big disservice to the character, even though this is like the birthplace of the character. And maybe as time progresses and you get to know him better, he's more enjoyable. But as of this very moment in time, not for me. We only got a few more to go. I'm gonna hit 2 again. Oh, no, okay. I Hate You in High School by Kathleen Goss. This is another graphic novel that's going to be coming out relatively soon. Full story follows our main character. She's living in like California or something like that, and she ends up being fired from her job, and her workplace ends up closing down, and she ends up getting a big sum of money. So she takes out her best friend, and she decides she's gonna go home to her parents' house for their like 30th anniversary, and she realizes that her nemesis from high school currently lives in the basement. Oh my gosh, can you see her? Look at her. She's so cute. And so it's their back and forth type of thing. You get to hear about the high school experience and stuff. And honestly, I really just thought that it would work better as a novel, which I don't think very much when I read graphic novels. But yeah, okay, moving on. Grab this one. Ooh, Earth Divers is the first of 2 novels I read for this series. I read Earth Divers Volume 1 and Earth Divers Volume 2. This one's called The Mother. This one's called Kill Columbus. Essentially, the series was born because in the note at the very beginning, this is by Stephen Graham Jones, my favorite author of all time, or one of my favorite authors. He's wrote that book right there. He says that most American children think once they learn about Christopher Columbus what it'd be like if they murdered Christopher Columbus, because of the horrific things that Native Americans or indigenous people in general would go on to have put upon them. So the story follows people in 2160 as they learn that there is a portal that can take them back to any time in the world, and they decide to send this guy back to kill Christopher Columbus to see if it can stop the end of the world. The second one follows a mother's love over 20,000 years, also combining the main plot into it. The first one, hold on, let me think here. I think I gave this one a 4, and this one's like a 3.5. I have to pay for the third one unless I can find it like at my local library. Can find it, I'll put it on hold and I'll get it and I'll read it that way. But I wasn't blown away enough to like want to purchase like a $20 book. So. Okay. Oh, okay. Scarlet Couture was, I would say, an immensely bad book this year. I'm like, so I went in on a 2, but I honestly think it's like a 1.5. I don't give graphic novels very low ratings quite often, but this one, in my opinion, was so stupid. I hate to say it. The artwork, I think, is atrocious, which I also hate to say it, but it also looks really AI. So, like, a part of me is like, I don't know, maybe it is atrocious for a reason. I can't tell. But that being said, it follows this woman, Tata's out on the cover, as she is a spy. And that's really all you got. And that's all I got away from it, too. Daniel Black's Isaac Song is his newest release. It came out, I want to say, in January. I got an e-arc, so thank you to the publisher for sending me a copy. I fucking adore this novel. This is a 5-star. It follows a boy in the 80s recounting his childhood because a therapist said he should. Trying to find the love in his parents that he doesn't think he has anymore. He always felt like his mother was like the saint, this high power, but he always felt like his father was this horrible man. And his therapist says, you gotta write it all out. You gotta tell me your story. But I want to know every detail that you can remember about your parents. I think it's very beautiful. Also, I've mentioned this time and time again, when I find novels that are very much about Black joy, I think I just want to promote them even more, because we hear a lot of stories, especially of people of color, where they're telling very sad, very heartbreaking, horrendous stories that I think are very important. I've read quite a few of those, and I think it's just something so beautiful to read something that is inherently very sad. This is a very sad book. It has Black joy as like its main theme and main heart of the whole thing, and I think it comes through so beautifully. And I think that's something Daniel Black, I think in my personal opinion, does so well. Big fan. Would highly recommend. Okay, we're down to like the last 5. Let me grab this one. Oh, okay. Rikatov, I think it's how you pronounce that, by Toni Morrison. This is Toni Morrison's only short story she ever wrote that was later put into a novel with a pretty long introduction, deep diving into it. I always recommend reading the short story first and then reading the introduction second. I know it's like an introduction to the story, but it does spoil the whole thing, so I don't know. I'm backwards on it. I'm curious what your guys' opinions on an introduction to something a smaller form. Like if it's a collection of short stories, I think I'll read the introduction first, because it brings you like the whole message message and the meaning of it all. However, if it's a single short story, and this short story is probably like 20 pages long, maybe less than that, but no. This follows two girls meet when their children at an orphanage that their parents can drop them off to. I want to say it's an orphanage. I wasn't very clear when I read it either. One is black, one is white, but you don't know as a reader, and you get to inquire throughout the entire thing based on the experiences of these girls as they're raising up. I can't tell you the rating though. This is for trying to find a 5-star, which now makes me suspect that a lot of these at the very bottom here are trying to find a 5-star. Because that video, that's a little long, I know. Oh my gosh, Daybreak by Moon Soup. This comes out in July, I think. I got an early advanced reader copy of it. Highly recommend. Oh my god, if you can get your hands on a copy, please do. This is Heartstopper Total 101. If you love that, you're going to fucking adore this. It's a webtoon comic that's being adapted into a graphic novel, and I have 2 of these currently on my read list. I've reread it because I'm using these as I read every 47 issues of the webtoon comic. I plop down on Goodreads and I read another one with my fake volumes that I'm creating because I want to read the whole story. It's currently still being updated as well, so which is really cool. They're in their season 2. Alright. This one, Against the Lost World by Susan Abala, is another rating I cannot tell you. This is for that 5-star. Follows a Palestinian girl who is in jail for terrorism, and she is recounting her entire life story. It's very harrowing, it's very uncomfortable, and very hard to read, but I can't help but recommend it. I do think there are some, I think you need to look it up though. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I think there are some comments that are made throughout this novel that I saw in a lot of reviews. I think I even touched on it in that video that I think are very hurtful. Just do your research, I guess, when going into it. However, I do think it's a very important novel. Alright, I'm just gonna grab this one. Alright. String was a 5-star graphic novel, one of my favorites I've read of the year. This follows a girl who can see 2 sets of string, one blue, that means relationship, one black, that means death, and they're connected to different souls and stuff. If you have black string connected to you and connected to somebody else, it means one of you guys are going to murder one another, or you're going to experience that death, or whatever it might be. Blue equals you fucked, or whatever it might be. And she is solving all these different cases. She ends up being brought on and having to solve her own case, and I fucking adored it, and I hope there's more. Cannot recommend it enough when it does eventually come out. I don't know the exact date. Once again, my brain's saying April, but I really don't know. At this point, I'm just gonna grab all 3 out, and we're just gonna talk about this one. Emily Wilde's encyclopedia for fairies follows Emily Wilde as she is creating her encyclopedia. This is a 5-star prediction, so I cannot tell you the rating of it. Let's go move on, and then we'll do the Creepy School Bus next. The Creepy School Bus is a 2-star read for me. This is a full audiobook narration cast, which means that there's sound effects and sound designs, which is why this book didn't work for me. However, it's written for children. I do think if children like scary stories, I think this could be perfect for them. I don't think it's too scary to be like, oh god, don't let your children read it, but I don't think it's like it was like a little more annoying for me though. But I do think it's written for the right audience. But I gave it a 2. Didn't realize kind of what I was getting into when I picked it up. Then lastly, we're going to talk about How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Lexley. First things first, I did give this a 5-star read. This was originally going to be a part of that video trying to find a 5-star because I'd already picked something else for it and got pushed. And so I got to read it by itself. And it was a 5-star, which is crazy. Crazy for a lot of reasons, but you'll see. You'll see. You'll be like, oh, look at that. Isn't that interesting? But anyway, for this one, it follows Abby as she has been tasked with the chosen one. She's the chosen one of this world. She doesn't know how or anything. She's on her 220th life, I think is when we meet her. There are scenes that can relate to self-harm and things along those lines. So if any of that stuff is triggering to you, please look up the trigger warnings. Also, this is a written by a man-female main character, first person, who is pretty horny. I'm not gonna lie. So if that's also something else that you're not like a big fan of, I also don't think this book's gonna work for you. I didn't mind it. I actually felt like Dahlia as a character was a very beautifully written character, and I felt the story was very funny, worked very well. I laughed quite a bit, and I would recommend it. That being said, those are the 28 books I read in the month of February. Please let me know what you guys read in the month of February. Also, let me know what your the one you love the most. Let me know all about that stuff in the comments down below. Talk to you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.